and welcome to today's Abacus Law Free Training Thursday. I have with me here today Perry Laverty, and she will be taking us through creating scheduled payments. As always, if you have any questions, please put them in the sidebar, and we will get to them at the end if we have time. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Perry, and she can take us through the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Amanda, and welcome everybody. All righty, well, today's topic's a little bit different. This is another way of billing, if you will, that Abacus has installed into the system. So it's pretty precise and pretty exact. So we'll go through this with the different steps, and then you all can decide if it's something that you would like to use. All right, as Amanda has mentioned, the way that we have questions and answers is through the question section of the GoToWebinar panel. So hopefully you all can see that, and go ahead and type in your questions, and that as soon as I'm done with our little presentation, because these are short and sweet, then we can get to questions and see if I can't answer them for you. See if you can stump me. Okay, so basically here we are in the billing program. And I'm going to start at the matter level. So what we're doing is opening up, I just lied. We're going to open up a matter, and we are going to go into that matter maintenance, and I'll show you where you can set up what we call flat fee schedules. So I'm going to pick up my matter screen here, and before class, I set up a specific one with a very fancy name. Okay, and here we go, a flat fee schedule. So this is my matter we're going to use today, and you all are all used to this screen, right? Everybody knows all these good details. Well, it's here on the billing tab where you can choose to do this type of billing. The first thing I want to point out is for this scheduled flat fee schedules, whatever you want to call it, we have to have a special billing format code. And this is something you have to use. We cannot set up our own, okay? We have to use the one that Abacus has set up for us because it basically turns on the specific details in the billing system. So the billing format code is FFS, and it is in your drop-down list, of course. So you can find it in here, highlight it, and then click select. Or, you know me, a quick double click will put that in place. We have to use that one, okay? Now, over under the billing mode, I call this my triangle, my billing triangle. These three bits of information are the important parts. Under the billing mode, we are going to choose flat fee, and at the bottom of the column, you will put in the full dollar amount that is going to be billed over time. Okay, this isn't the first payment or the last payment. This is all of the payments together. Okay, so in this case, this particular matter is to be billed $5,000. Now, the details come in when you come over under the billing frequency and choose the frequency of payment schedule. Okay, when you do this, when you do this, let's undo it here for a minute. Okay, let me just try this. All right, so if you watch down here, the magic happens when I actually click on payment schedule because it adds a new tab. All right, so this is telling the system, okay, we are going to set up our payment schedule. Now, this is kind of like you have a fee agreement with your client, and within that agreement, you have stated that they will pay a particular dollar amount on a particular day, okay? Before we get too far down the line here, I want to make sure we understand the difference between the regular flat fee, monthly fee, and this flat fee schedule. Flat fee, we do utilize that for this flat fee schedule, but if you are not having an actual payment schedule, in other words, you're just billing the client one amount, and that's it, okay, you will not use this billing format code. You more than likely, I like the Gen 1 to use for just a regular old one-time flat fee, okay? And when you do that, then, of course, you're not going to set up a payment schedule, all right? So that's if it's just a plain one-time flat fee. It could be $5,000. It's just no setup as far as on this day of this month, they owe this amount. That's what we're calling a flat fee schedule. Now, we also have this guy called monthly fee. And when I started using this, it doesn't like me keep trying to change this stuff. When I started using this new feature, I was like, well, what's the difference? You know, monthly fee, we get a tab and we can set up a monthly schedule, but this one is really way more relaxed. Okay. So this one, when you come in to set up a schedule, and this is just a monthly, you know, okay, yeah, Mr. Client, you're going to pay me such and such on the first bill I send you, and then such and such on the second bill I send you. This was the initial kind of flat fee schedule before we really got down to the details. So this one is just add in here, okay, it's $500 for the first bill, click OK, and that's all there is. And then you add another one. So this is a very gentle monthly billing schedule if you wanted to just utilize this instead of the actual detailed flat fee schedule. I'm just making sure you all understand the differences between them. So let's go back and get back on course here. So first of all, I got to use my proper billing format code for my schedule flat fees. Turn on flat fees, put the full dollar amount over here under the end of the column, and turn on my payment schedule. So those are the three details we need, and now we're going to move over to our payment schedule tab. So we open this up. Now, basically, we've got a blank canvas here. We're ready to go. You determine how you want to do this. You can do it one of two ways. All right. Up here, of course, it'll have the name of the matter, and it will have the full dollar amount for the total flat fee. Now, you're going to decide whether you want to do it by installment amount or if you want to do it by the number of payments. You know, half of one, half of the others, no big difference between the two except that Abacus, the way it calculates it. So let's say, first of all, that we're going to do it by the installment amount. Okay? So now I come over here and tell it the first day that a payment is due on. And just for simplicity, I'm going to pick today. All right? So it puts in that. Okay, it wants to know, since I'm choosing to do it by installment amount, what do I want these installments to be? Now, yes, here you put in what pretty much a round number. If this needs to change, like maybe the first payment's going to be different from the second payment and be different from the third payment, you can do so, but we have to get it started. We have to give it something to work with. So I'm going to say $1,000. And then it's asking, okay, when are you going to bill this? Now, this does come down to the day of the month, okay? So this is not as easygoing as the monthly schedule. This is, I'm going to say monthly just to show you what it does, and then I click on add. So it was installment amount, first due date, okay, dollar amount, and the time interval. When I click on add, the system goes ahead and splits this total $5,000 into 5 equal payments, okay? And it knows the exact day of each month that it's due on. Now, you can edit this, okay? There's some flexibility here. I could come in and say, you know, the first payment I'm going to be really nice, and I'm going to, let's see here. What am I doing here? Okay, I want to modify it. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to say, okay, for this one, let's put in $500. So I can change out the numbers, but the system kind of now is going to go ahead and it's only going to be the sum of the installments over here to $4,500. So I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing here, because if I want to collect my full $5,000, I have to, know that I have changed something here. Maybe I'm going to collect it all at the end. So I can edit this one and change this to be $1,500. So, it does the math for you the first time around, but it's not so smart as to, insist that you make it $5,000 before you leave the screen. Okay. Okay. So there again, now I have added it all together. It's all $5,000, so we're good to go. Normally, you would just click save and be done. Okay. But I want to go through, and what I'm going to do is just take these and get them out of here so we can see. Obviously, you can change things around a little bit. let's say instead of installment amount, we want to do it by the number of installments. Okay? So once again, when is the first one due? And billing really pays attention to the due dates. All right? We're going to move over to billing in a minute. But billing is where it actually looks at the date that these things are due, whether to know it's time to send a bill or not. So we want to make sure we're accurate there. Let's say there's 4 installments. Okay, and we're going to do it monthly, and we add. Okay. Oh, what did I do? I'm not sure what I did there, but I have a whole lot of payments. I must have done something a bit strange. Okay, let's clear these out and try this again. Wow, that's a lot of payments. That's a lot of billing. Whee! All right, so you get the idea here that you can edit your dollar amounts and make them whatever you want them to be. Okay, so here, and number of installments. Let's see here. Maybe it said 40 instead of 4. Okay, yeah, I think that 0 defaults in there, so wow. All right, so now let's see if we can't get that. There we go. That's a little better. So you can do it either way, by the installment amount or by the number of installments. So from here, you now go ahead and proceed with billing. Now, one little thing I can tell you about billing, okay? If you have a lot of matters set up with these payment schedules, instead of having to remember who you want to bill, there's an easy way to do it. I'll just do it on the pre-bills first. All right, come in. And you can use this bill by group. And what you can do is come up here to the billing frequency, okay? Because in your billing frequency, there is an option in here for scheduled payments. So instead of running a whole mess of monthly bills, you know how many that is, you get a big, and how do you sort them by people? Scheduled payments will only pull those matters where there are schedules, and it will look at your billing dates, the fee cutoff date, to make sure that a bill is due. Okay, so you could run with this one and then say add to billing run. But remember, it's going to pick up this fee cost cut date to determine, of all the scheduled payments, whose are the ones that need to be printed. In other words, if a matter's payments don't start until September, no bill will be generated because we're cutting it off as of August. Okay, so it really pays attention to the fees cost cut date. So you could come in and say add to billing run, and it will go get all of my big database here of my particular matters that are due to have scheduled payments. So you also, of course, could come in and just choose the one you want, as always. So individually, we simply come here. I actually have this guy memorized because you guys know how to look things up, I'm sure. Okay, so there we go. Now, the pre-bill doesn't do anything fancy. It does not show all the schedule of all the payments that are due. It just simply shows the full amount that's due. Okay, so there's nothing much going on there. But the actual bill will break down the payments for you. So I'm going to skip ahead to the actual bill so you can see what I mean. So under billing, we go to print bills, and I'm going to take him out of here. He was somebody I was playing with this morning. We'll go in, and once again, you could do all of them with your billing frequency. Okay, I believe the code is a P, but it stands for scheduled payments. Come over here, pick our guy. There we go. And go ahead, add to billing run, and let's see what this thing looks like. So I'm going to come down to a preview, of course, so you all can see it. Okay, so you can tell that it has this flat fee summary here that basically shows the full amount of the flat fee. In other words, that you, Mr. Client, you're going to pay $5,000. But right now, with this invoice, since I ran it through the 2nd of August and his first payment was due on the 2nd of August, it comes out with a flat fee due this invoice $1,000. Then down in the current invoice, of course, it just does what it normally does about the math, adding up, showing balances. Maybe he didn't pay his full prior balance if I had billed him the month before. That will carry through, of course. If there were costs, I didn't put any in here because I didn't want to confuse anything. But of course, costs will show just like always. Now, the special thing here is over on the blast page. Let me try to scoot this up a little bit. Okay, there we go. So you can see it lists out the full schedule of what is due on what dates. So, the client really can't pull the I didn't know when it was due kind of thing, because every time you send him a bill, it's going to show him his payment schedule. It's going to show if you've received any monies, when you receive them, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the exact details for a payment schedule if you are going to set them up. Okay, now, yes, of course, we post these bills like always. You can make any changes you need to make. If you want to put a time ticket in there so it has text in there, you could do so, but of course you will not be billing by dollar amounts on those tickets. So you want to make sure your billing format doesn't have dollars per ticket, right? Let me just quickly show you what I'm talking about. Understand what I'm saying here? So in our flat fee schedule, billing format code, we're going to want to make sure that we don't have the dollar amount per ticket shown, because like on any flat fee case, that would just be confusing. Okay. Let's see here. So after you post your bills, then, people have asked, well, where can you see any of this? Where does it go through after you do the billing? Actually, it goes through to, there's a specific report that was developed for flat fee schedules. It's under your matter reports. So under matters, in the matter reports, there's something called, I believe it's called flat fee schedule. Not too complicated there. There we go. And this will show, if you do it by all clients, for all matters, you pull your date range as far as what you want to see. And it will show all of the matters that have flat fee schedules here with their dollar amounts for payments. Now, my flat fee schedule isn't very well developed in here. I don't have a lot of billing history, but you can see it goes through. There's one, okay, where an invoice was generated. Okay, so it's going to actually show the installment amount, the invoice number, and the invoice date. And when they do pay, it will show the payment amounts. So this is a report developed specifically for the flat fee schedule. This is actually one down here where it does show the payment. So you can see the payment does come through. So that goes right along with this billing style. Okay. Well, let's see if we have any questions. I know this is rather quick. We just throw these things at you during these little free training Thursdays, but we're trying to just get you interested and see, if you would like to use these other options in here. So I'm going to open up my questions and see if I can. Okay. Well, thank you, Margaret. You figured it out before I did. I had 40 payments instead of 4 because I didn't pay attention to what I was inputting into my number of installment box. Thank you much. I appreciate that. Oh, talking and clicking, sometimes I get confused. Okay. Anybody, any questions about flat fee schedules or scheduled flat fees, whatever you'd like to call it there? I'm open to questions. Obviously, we try to make this about 15 minutes, and then we open up the field to have conversations. I would, if I were you, go try it out and see if you like it. One thing I should say, and, for right now, this is what Abacus has. I have pushed to get a development done and making it a little better. But what I'm talking about, I should explain it before I just go rattling on. Anytime you're looking at your productivity report or your AR report, it includes that full flat fee, okay, on the month that it is billed. So in other words, my flat fee schedule guy, okay, let's just pull this. Well, actually, let's do aging so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see, I'm hoping he'll be near the top here so we don't have 2,000 pages to look through. But it's going to put all of it in the month that it's billed. So currently, the way Abacus tracks it is all $5,000 is in the current section. Now, I realize that, hey, that's not really all due right now, so I want to make sure I brought that to your attention. So when you're looking at AR, you can realize that, hey, that's not it. Like I say, Abacus is pushing to get a new report developed that will simply show current what you were owed and also be able to forecast out into the coming months to show you what payments are due in the coming months. So you can kind of almost budget out and say, okay, well, we know that we have signed this much work, but they will not be paying until this date, and this date. So in your program now, guys, you have this little bullhorn thingy up above on the icon line, and it's asking for your feedback. So when you find things like what I'm mentioning right now, if you say, hey, I'd love to see a report that did such and such, they listen to you guys more than they listen to me. So please send in your requests so that we can get new reports developed. So that's a big one, right? Get the account or the aging for the accounts receivable to show dollar amounts that are, full amount that is not the full amount due now, but what's actually due now. Because we really charge that Mr. Flat Fee Schedule $1,000. Okay, let's see. Any questions over here? Don't be shy. Oh, it looks like y'all are being a little quiet. How about we have a few more minutes? Would you like to ask a question not about flat fee billing, about billing and accounting in general? I might be able to try to answer that. Once a month, we try to have the webinar where you can ask absolutely anything about billing and accounting. So if you've got something in your mind, I'd be happy to try to answer that. Otherwise, you are free to go. We have these every week, different topics every week. You can always see on our Abacus Next website what's coming up, what will be covered. I flip off, and AbacusLaw does 1 week worth of a topic, and then it's Abacus Billing and Accounting. So we go back and forth. Once again, in our little bullhorn up here for our feedback, you can certainly tell us what you would like to cover. Okay, here we go. We have a question. How do I enter a trust deposit in accounting for a client on a date after it was deposited into the bank? Okay, what I think you're asking for here is a trust deposit. So we're going to open up and go to our island of trust. Got on the island, and we're going into trust deposits. Okay, and let's pull this down. You're going to click on Add, of course, and fill out this information. And here there are no dates on the screen. So basically it's just who is it? Abacus knows from the matter maintenance screen where we were a little earlier today looking at the general tab there, which account their trust money is in. Okay, how much is it? Where did it come from? Okay, so if this was paid by credit card, or, wherever else, paid in gold, whatever else they may have done. Okay. Now, the whole date comes into play when you deposit. Okay, so the deposit date is out here on the main screen. I know sometimes if you're using these icons, you don't necessarily, they don't start you here with the big bucket, as I call the posting boxes. It takes you right into the screen so you don't see a date field. But this is the date field. I get to it from trust to my trust deposits. And this should be the date that the deposit was entered into the bank. So you can change this, of course. And I always say, I harp on people getting these correct. But if you're in the right month, the bank rec's not going to be a problem. So I always say, okay, as long as you got it in there in the right month. So basically you pull up your calendar. If it was a different month, of course, you just choose the date and then you highlight it and you post it. Now, Maria, I'm not sure if that answered your question, so let me know if you have another. But posting this will now, this is my favorite little screen. When you go to post, because I clicked on post, it pops this little message up and asks, look at the actual date. Look up here. Is this the right date? So it's trying to give you every chance to get the right date. Continue with posting. If that was the wrong date, of course, I would say no, fix the date, and then hit post again and say yes. And that updates the matter trust activity here. Okay. The Abacus Trust Check Register, I should say the checkbook in Abacus, and your reconciliation for your trust account, and of course your trust reports. So it interacts, and your balance sheet, by the way, it interacts throughout the system, but just by posting the one thing right here. Okay? Okay, very good. All right, guys, anything else? I got 5 minutes. What can we do? Yeah, let's see. I appreciate your time and your all your troubles to get in here and listen to these things every week. Okay, all right, Maria. Now she's going for a home run. She wants to know how to move the funds as a payment to the client's bill. Okay, let's see. I think I put that on my very first matter. So basically, you have to have a couple options turned on. Okay, you have to tell the system this is how you use trust monies to make payments on billing. Under File, under Setup in the company preferences, you have to have this second option on the General tab on the left-hand side turned on, Auto Trust Check Request upon posting bills. All right, so if that's turned on, you're good. And of course, they have to have money. Then when you go to print your bill, and I'm going to just jump ahead and get to this, click on Add. I'm going to do it individually. You come in, and I believe it was this one I put the $200 on, so I'll throw that in there. Okay, and you want to, over here, have your option turned on to automatically apply trust to bill. So there we are. That's turned on. I say add to my billing run. And now we can see what this bill looks like. And hopefully I have it set up. I haven't changed anything on here. Okay. This is a statement bill. All right, so this looks a little different, of course. Basically, this is showing that we are going to take $181.25 and apply it against this bill. Okay, this is telling us that we are going to do this. Okay, the system tells the client we're going to do it, but of course we have not done that yet. Okay, so we have to make sure we pull the funds. So after we post this bill, okay, and there is a video of this, I believe, online on the website that you can go to that will get into all the details here. Let's see if this will do this for me. Automatically process trust checks. I'm telling it for Mr. Hanley to get that money. So I go ahead and post it. And it wants to know about my posting date. That's all well and good. And what that does, since I had that option turned on, is it opens up my trust because it knows we said on the bill we were going to take money. So it opens up the trust section of the program, and it wants to know, okay, what is the check number you're going to use to take the money from trust? So we just come in here and tell it what check number. If we're not printing checks, that's absolutely fine. If this is being done online, we want to tell it that. So one of these options here, and that takes the money out of that trust account, and it also puts it over here under payments received because the program knows that money has to go into the operating account because the money coming out was made payable to the firm. So you can see the $181.25 was actually pulled out of trust and placed here waiting to be posted into the operating account. Okay? All right. So in 5 minutes or less, that was how you handle billing with trust transfers. Like I say, Maria, there is probably an hour-long video in the webinar section on the website that takes you through that. I believe it's Hourly Billing with Trust Transfers is the name of it. All right, guys, we're about at the end of our time here, so let's just be sure. Okay, great. All right, lovely. Thank you all very much for your time today. I hope you have a lovely weekend and happy summer. Okay? Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.